The Abel family, Francis, Iris, Joshua, and Lucas, flee the chaos of a zombie outbreak ravaging the city. Seeking safety, they head toward Francis's childhood home, a sprawling, remote mansion on a sugarcane plantation. Their journey is fraught with danger, as they encounter hordes of undead blocking the roads. Narrowly escaping an ambush, they finally arrive at the estate, but its eerie silence suggests that safety may be an illusion. The family begins to settle into the mansion, but emotional tensions soon rise. Francis, haunted by memories of his abusive father, recalls being punished and locked in the mansion's basement as a child. Iris, burdened with guilt over her infidelity with Francis's brother Diego, struggles to maintain normalcy. Meanwhile, Joshua, unaware that Diego is his biological father, strives to earn Francis's approval, but only faces cold indifference. Francis becomes consumed with fortifying the mansion, believing isolation is their best chance for survival. However, Iris insists they cannot stay indefinitely and must seek safer refuge. Tensions between the couple rise as their arguments grow more frequent. Eventually, Iris convinces Francis to explore a rumored safe zone nearby. Despite his doubts, Francis agrees, leading the family into another perilous journey beyond the plantation. The family sets out cautiously, traveling through desolate roads riddled with signs of destruction. At a checkpoint, they are ambushed by a horde of zombies. Forced to abandon their vehicle, the family narrowly escapes and returns to the mansion on foot. The failed attempt leaves them shaken. Francis becomes increasingly paranoid, convinced that leaving the estate would lead to certain death, while Iris quietly resents his decision to stay. Joshua stumbles upon a faint radio signal, broadcasting information about a nearby safe zone. Excited by the possibility of salvation, he pleads with Francis to investigate. However, Francis dismisses the idea, unwilling to risk another trip outside. Frustrated, Joshua begins to resent his father's inaction. Meanwhile, Francis turns his focus inward, working to ensure the mansion is impenetrable and isolating himself further from his family. As tensions mount, Diego, Francis's estranged brother, arrives at the mansion. Diego reveals that he has survived the outbreak and offers to lead the family to the rumored safe zone. His presence stirs bitter memories for Francis, who cannot forgive Diego for betraying him by having an affair with Iris. Though Diego's intentions seem genuine, Francis rejects his offer outright, creating a rift that only deepens the family's isolation. Hoping to prove himself, Joshua convinces Francis to teach him how to shoot. During a training session, the sound of gunfire attracts a swarm of zombies. The family fights to barricade the mansion, but it is Diego who arrives to lure the undead away, risking his life in the process. Despite Diego's heroic actions, Francis refuses to acknowledge his brother's sacrifice and demands that Diego leave the property immediately. In the uneasy quiet that follows, Iris begins to notice subtle changes in the zombies' behavior. She speculates that the creatures may be weakening over time. Her observations provide a glimmer of hope, but Francis dismisses her theory as wishful thinking. Instead, his paranoia deepens, and he stages a fake zombie attack to justify fortifying the mansion further. His actions push his family to the brink of despair. Joshua, increasingly frustrated with his father, discovers a map to the safe zone left behind by Diego. Confronting Francis, Joshua demands answers, leading to a heated argument. In the process, Iris admits the truth about her affair with Diego and Joshua's true parentage. Devastated, Francis lashes out in anger, burning the map in front of his family. This act destroys their last hope of escape and fractures their relationships further. That night, a soldier named Corcura arrives at the mansion, gravely wounded. He confirms Iris's suspicion that the zombies are indeed weakening. Corcura also reveals that Diego is dead, having sacrificed himself to protect others. While the soldier's news offers some hope, his presence unsettles Francis. Viewing him as a threat to their fragile isolation, Francis grows increasingly hostile and begins plotting against him. Joshua, disillusioned with his father's leadership, decides to leave the mansion and find the safe zone on his own. Meanwhile, Francis, consumed by paranoia, murders Corcuera and locks Iris and Lucas in the basement, believing this will keep them safe. His descent into madness reaches its peak as he isolates himself completely. Iris, desperate to protect Lucas, begins planning their escape, knowing Francis is beyond reason. Lucas feigns illness, creating an opportunity for Iris to attack Francis. In a tense confrontation, she stabs him and escapes the basement with Lucas. However, their escape is cut short when they are attacked by a reanimated Diego. In the ensuing chaos, Lucas is bitten by Diego, leaving Iris devastated. She fights off Diego and carries Lucas to safety, determined to save her son despite the worsening odds. Francis, finally shaken out of his delusional state, comes to their aid and kills Diego. However, he is paralyzed by grief and guilt when he sees Lucas's injury. Unable to act, he watches as Iris takes charge. Demonstrating incredible resolve, Iris amputates Lucas's infected limb to prevent the spread of the virus. Her decisive action contrasts sharply with Francis's earlier failures as a protector and leader. With Lucas stabilized but weak, Iris urges Francis to retrieve the van from the checkpoint. Reluctantly, Francis ventures out, determined to redeem himself. At the same time, Joshua, who had been traveling toward the safe zone, spots his father from a distance. Mistaking Francis's bloodied appearance for that of a zombie, Joshua fires a shot, fatally wounding his father. The tragic misunderstanding sets up the film's devastating climax. As Francis lays dying, he summons his remaining strength to reach out to Joshua. In an emotional exchange, he forgives the boy for shooting him and acknowledges him as his son. Joshua, overwhelmed with guilt and sorrow, promises to protect the family. Francis's death marks the end of his troubled journey, leaving Joshua to bear the weight of responsibility as the family's new leader. Joshua retrieves the van and returns to the mansion to rescue Iris and Lucas. Together, they make plans to leave the plantation and head toward the safe zone. Though their future remains uncertain, the family's bonds are stronger than ever. The harrowing events have forced them to confront their deepest fears and secrets, transforming them into survivors capable of facing the unknown. As they drive away from the mansion, the sugarcane fields burn in the background, a haunting image that mirrors the family's emotional scars. Though they have lost much, they carry with them a renewed sense of purpose. Lucas, weakened but alive, symbolizes hope for their future. The film ends on a somber, yet hopeful note, emphasizing the resilience of the human spirit, even in the face of unimaginable loss. Outside is not just a zombie horror film, it is a story of family, trauma, and redemption. Through its emotional depth and gripping narrative, it explores how individuals adapt and survive in the harshest of conditions. The Able family's journey serves as a testament to the enduring strength of love and sacrifice, reminding us that even in the darkest times, hope can prevail.